love for you to talk a bit about your Children's Miracle Network work.
Children's Miracle Network is, we've been around for 40 years. We raise money for children's hospitals all throughout the United States and Canada. And we've raised over $8.5 billion. And Ryan Seacrest also has a charity at Vanderbilt Children's Hospital that Ivan is part of. So check that out. If you have an opportunity to help a child, then do it. Do it, by all means. Do it, because we're very fortunate that we can get up and walk and laugh and talk. So let's not take any of that for granted.
Amen, that's beautiful. Continuing with gratitude, Emmanuelle, tell us, is there anything you're passionate about right now, or you're shining light on?
That was a nice transition.
He's good.
That was good. That was nice.
We're grateful for you, Byron.
That's right. Yes, actually, there's so I have a foundation called the Fluff Ball, and what we do is we raise money for a chosen charity. Every few years, we pick a different charity, animal-based, and just recently we chose Horses and Heroes, which is a foundation in Florida near Ocala. And what they do is they run a program with horses for young girls that come from underprivileged families. Most of them live at or below the poverty line, so it provides them with kind of like a run-on sentence here, like I can't reach it.
It's actually, I'm into it. You're doing great.
So what they do is that teaches them, they work together, that teaches them leadership skills and how to care for the horses, and they also provide meals for the kids and gas cards so that the parents or whoever's their caretaker can get them to and from the program. And the young girls get to form friendships and bonds.
What's it called again?
Horses and Heroes.
Okay, cool. And then, but you said Fluff Ball.
The Fluff Ball is my foundation.
Okay.
And we're
Just want to make sure I heard that right.
and we're supporting Horses and Heroes.
Did you snort?
To snort. Nobody I don't mean to snort usually on purpose.
Who would? Super snort.
We've had the pleasure of doing so many of these great panels, and I wanted to come from a fresh angle for Tom. Annette O'Toole came in and replaced the actor in the pilot and came in with such a great presence. I want to talk to you specifically, having experienced one Martha and then another, and then working with John. The chemistry you guys have. Everybody talks about romantic chemistry usually, but when it comes to the family and the rhythm of that dynamic, you guys have a chemistry.
I'll be honest with you, it was such a blur in the pilot that the actress who was originally playing Martha, I have like kind of a vague memory of her blonde hair. And that's no disrespect for her. I mean, John, you were obviously probably have a better memory than me, but I do remember meeting Annette and just being like, she's such a mom. Like you can feel it when you're around her. She's just got that vibe, and that was easy for me to lean into. But I mean, you had to kind of work through that transition, probably more than I did.
Yeah. Does anybody? She was in a television series after that called it's about the circus. It was a great, very odd. It was the woman that played Martha first. I don't remember her name. She was great. It's 20-something years. Come on, give me a break. It's been a long time. I don't remember breakfast sometimes. But she was great. But I think she was Annette has this nurturing thing about her.
Like when she says Clark, like, you just instantly feel like your mother's disappointed in you, but still supports you, but just really doesn't like the choice you just made in one word.
With just the word Clark.
With just the word Clark. She's got to get this.
That was great. I've got a picture of it. I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a picture of we're walking towards somebody off camera, and we are exactly in stride. It looks like we decided to start on the same foot and walk at exactly the same pace, but we didn't. We just did that naturally. So there still is. There's a chemistry between he and I that is really unmistakable. And I think it's just fantastic. And I was shocked at how tall you are. There's a picture, I saw a picture of you from the Gilmore Girls, and they said, if this who's playing Clark.
No, that's not me. That's Jared. That's Jared Van Lecter. I was never on the Gilmore Girls. Judging Amy.
Judging Amy.
Why remember that name?
Does he have curly hair?
No.
No, I saw a picture of him with curly hair. And you were slight.
I was like
So you
20.
weren't on Judging Amy, but you weren't on the Gilmore Girls.
Correct.
I've been lying for 20 years.
But I will say that I told this story a couple times today. Also, like, I grew up on Dukes of Hazzard. So when I met John, like, I remember we had like a TV in our house, and then we had like a small TV in the kitchen, right? And my parents and the rest of the family would be watching whatever they're watching. And I would be like in the kitchen, like on a stool, close to a little TV, and it was like Dukes of Hazzard, Miami Vice, Magnum PI, like these are the things that I would watch. So when I met John, it actually worked out for our characters because he knew what he was doing, he's had experience, like he was the father figure, and John did take me under his wing. He knew I didn't really know
anything on the Gilmore Girls.
Well, but I knew that you knew I didn't know what I was doing, that I had, and I could do it. And that also was what Jonathan Kent did for me.
Yeah.
It was actually, it was kind of beautiful. And I will say in scenes that I was in with him, I would want to follow John's lead. And it worked out in that dynamic. So
Yeah.
whether you were walking left foot first or not, maybe I was just doing what you were doing.
I you were behind me, so maybe.
Yeah.
Cool. That was great. It worked out from the very beginning.
Yeah.
I think the pilot of Smallville is some of the best television ever made. I really do.
Yeah.
Now, is anyone going to ask questions, or are you just going to make things up?
We will bring them in about 20 minutes in, yes. I have a few more things. So your nurturing abilities, Mr. Schneider, we'll bring up the other John Glover. He has said that I think you guys fought in the cave in season 3. Tom brought that up on Talkville. Y'all should listen to Talkville. It's an incredible podcast. Please subscribe.
It's fun.
Like.
One of the quick things I'll say is what's fun about it is Michael being on the show, because Michael never watched Smallville, and he never read a scene his character was never in. So when he has no idea what's happening. So he's watching it fresh every time. It's great.
But Glover was very nervous because you have this energy of bravado man that he only mimics on camera, and he's like, I don't know
by that. Never mind.
He's a fragile soul.
Yes,
He's
he
a
is.
fragile soul.
And so when you guys are supposed to kick each other's ass in the cave, you taught him the whole fight sequence.
I had to teach John how to fight. Yeah, I had to teach because fighting does not come naturally to John. So, and he had to throw me over. No, did I throw him over the table?
That was in season 5. In season 3,
but I had to teach him again because he forgot. Because it was great. So I'm such a fan of John Glover. He's crazy. Have you met John? Yeah, he's
In a beautiful way.
in a beautiful way. Yeah,
But you had so much knowledge. You taught me so much about the stunt stuff. Like there was one point where you were trying to save Clark, and you did something, and I had to like pick you up, and you go grab my belt. I was like, what are you talking about? And you showed me how to like cheat my hand to get your belt leverage, and like you taught me a lot of stuff.
It has well. You're welcome. You just have to know. And on Dukes, we did fights all the time, and I was a big Western fan, and so every time we did fights on Dukes, I loved it. So we had the opportunity to do that. What was the great one where we fight each other? I have the superpowers. Nicodemus? What was it?
Exile Phoenix.
Season 3.
Season 3, the first 2 episodes.
Okay. Well, yeah. So we did a lot of fighting.
That's the
No
punch
idea.
in the thing.
Yeah.
No,
Punching the wall, and we did.
Yeah,
we did
that's
that.
the belt thing.
Right. That was great. It was a lot of fun because if you have to. You can't really fight, obviously, because that would hurt.
But you also
Pretty big.
you would also like you wouldn't even like tell anybody, but you'd like pick some dirt up from the ground so that when you like hit someone, the dust.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you just had all these.
Watching.
That's right. I was there. And we're like, you don't fight up Gilmore Girls. It's an emotional fight. Jared told me. Or like, I remember there was something else. Maybe it was that same thing where I had to punch you, but the angle wasn't right, and you're like, just do it. I'll do it on my side. And like, you know how to turn your head for camera to save the angle, and so I just would like steal all your shit.
Because you were there longer than me.
Yep.
But yeah, then we'd have a cinematographer, a camera operator say, hey, we need to have it, we need the punch to be, and I'd say, really? Is that how this works? Gosh, thank you. The next thing you're going to do is tell me how to drive a car. I remember one time when they were first doing the ramp up where you like come up like Gumby. Yeah. I think I threw some dirt at your feet one time so that when you landed it went like that. So
that might have been it. And then everybody's like, oh, we should.
Yeah, we should have thought of that.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, yeah.
Working your way toward an EP credit on the show right there.
Ha! All about the horse and the trainer who has the greatest name in the world, and named Danny Virtue.
Oh, Danny is the best. Yeah.
So I remember taking Tom aside and I said, you see how it's all about the horse, right? Everybody is so worried about the horse, and the horse doesn't have to do anything. But if you're going to be here a long time, you've got to figure out how to be the horse. Because they will abuse you, they'll work you 12 hours a day. They had him driving himself in and out of, or to and from the set. It was a 45-minute or an hour-long drive through.
2 different sets.
Yeah, 2 different sets, and they were, if he didn't become the horse, they would kill him. They would. The schedule on a television show, especially when you're Clark Kent on
And you don't know any better.
Yeah,
but you knew better.
Yeah, so when I came back after my my untimely demise, when I came back, you had so learned how to be the horse. It was great. I said, where's it? Hey, where's Tom? I want to say, oh, well, we're not, we have to make sure Mr. Welling is good. Then all of a sudden, the horse showed up. It's Mr. Welling. And we did that great scene at the fence, and then you smiled again, because the horse, I don't think the horse smiled at all. No, they were wearing him out.
No, it took me 7 years to like get to a point where the last 3 years of Smallville were actually fun. The first 7 years are kind of just crazy.
Well, I remember when I would in season 2, and I mean I was only there for a short period of time, but I just remember Tom they had 2 full units going, so basically 2 full TV shows, separate TV shows of the same TV show, and you were just going from one unit to the other unit to the other unit, and you never stopped. Like, you were in every scene,
Yeah.
and it was like, I was like, I don't even know how he's still standing.
Well, and I remember that being like, man, she has to go to scenes with Michael. She must be exhausted.
I was thinking about your scenes, and I remember when Lex, the character, is speeding to get to you because you're being stalked or you're being tormented, thrown around in the doctor's office. Did you do some stunts in that sequence? I'm trying to think.
I don't remember there being stunts. I mean, there might have been some jostling. That's the word I was looking for. But I don't remember, like, we didn't do any sort of fight stuff of any sort that I can recall.
You probably had a stunt double and didn't know it. You were drinking coffee while she was being thrown through.
I was like, can Tom do this? Put a wig on Tom, he's busy.
You had a great stunt double. I remember the guy
Chris.
Jumped off the bridge in the water and all of
He does everything, and he also taught me so much about physicality and how to move yourself and how to protect yourself and throw punches, and he got himself in trouble sometimes with the stunt coordinators because he would sometimes put himself between us and try to make it politically correct. But sometimes they would ask me to do things and he'd say he's not doing that because he'd be protecting me. There was one where I was supposed to punch through this coffin to save Lana, and I remember just being like, I don't think, and he came over and he was like, I'll do it. And the guy who created it was like, what are you talking about? It's like, I just made this, it's fine, it's all scored from the other hand. And Chris goes, then you do it. I looked him right in the eye. Like, stunt doubles aren't really supposed to talk up like that. And he goes, fine. Whack! The thing didn't break. And then there was another time where Clark comes in and there's all these SWAT guys in the kitchen and they shoot Uzis at him. And I was going to do it because they were from here to that far away. And
Yeah,
Chris goes,
okay.
I don't want you to do this. And I was like, why not? He said, he goes, there's still particles that come out,
Yep.
showcasing. So he did it, and he had one scratch here, and these guys were half the room away.
Oh, yeah.
And he ended up getting himself really hurt, unfortunately, but he just taught me a lot of stuff. We go mountain biking together on weekends, some fight stuff. Anyway, I'm a big fan as well.
Chris
But he
is great.
protected me a lot. That was a huge thing. Because they will just get you, they'll run that horse to the ground, like you said.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and if you don't protect yourself, you don't have a great stunt guy.
Yeah.
You want to get that? If you don't have a great stunt guy or a great stunt team, then they will. And they don't mean to hurt you, but they don't know any better. They've never done that.
Right.
You know, they've never been in front of the camera. It's different. So, yeah, Chris, is he okay?
Yeah.
Because he fell off something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Enough said. I remember that day.
I was just saying. But,
So Emmanuelle, you had these great scenes with Michael where you have a clear chemistry.
Which is not easy to do.
But you take him to task. You're not just there for his beck and, I want to be warmed up to you, so you're just going to get nothing but positivity. You don't have that. And then you came to Clark's aid as well. There was a nice balance of playing both sides of this frenemies situation. Can you talk about some of your favorite scenes filming with John and Tom and Michael?
you were, just real quick while you collect your thoughts, your character was like Jonathan Kent's worst nightmare. No, the fact that you had the blood, like everything that Jonathan Kent was trying to prevent, you had access to. So it was a big deal.
Yeah, most of my scenes with Michael, it was similar, on-screen relationship was similar to our off-screen relationship, where I just was like, no, Michael, no. It's not how it's gonna work. No, it was like that, we became great friends, and it was, I love him dearly to this day. And yeah, it was, I unfortunately didn't get a lot of time to work with anyone else other than Michael, really. It was...
We talked about you a lot.
Sadly.
We talked about the fact that you had Clark's blood a lot, that's for sure.
That was
Clark's blood.
Clark's blood, yes.
Yeah.
There was a lot of speak about it.
Yeah.
Then I was over with Michael, mostly.
What was the weirdest scene, Tom, would you say, in the green water tank where you're strapped down for
That
hours?
was awkward. It was one of your favorite episodes, the one that Miles directed.
Yeah, I love that one.
You can hear about it on the podcast. Yeah, it was this really odd, listen, they wanted this really cinematic scene of Clark sort of in these tight neoprene shorts and going like this, and then they did the same thing to Michael, but they started from here. They didn't show his whole body. And I played a joke where I made it visually compromised in my shorts, just to suit Miles. And they didn't realize until we moved on from the shot, and he is, to this day, I love you, Tom, but I hate you. For the long shot, I hate that. But Clark looked good. Protecting my character. Let me take you out of a cold pool of water in tight shorts in a wide shot and move right across your body. Yeah, I'm gonna protect myself. I know it's Smallville, but come on. The water's cold. Gotta protect the horse.
That's funny.
That's a magical moment right there.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was thinking about the CPR in the pilot with me and Michael. And I just remember Michael looking at me and goes, just do it, just do it, just do it, just do it. Don't think about it, just do it. It was when I gave him CPR.
That was his old slogan on dates too.
Just do it, just do it. Good. I was like, well, close your eyes. Don't look at me when I do this.
Yours were open?
I had to make yours too. No, but his eyes had to be closed first. I got to see where I'm going. That is, like, do you keep your eyes open with CPR? I don't know.
I've never actually done CPR.
I've just played CPR on camera.
Awkward though, like your eyes are open. And you're
I don't know. Sir, what did I do? Were my eyes open or
You had to do compressions on him when he was out until he spat in the water.
closed? Right. Were my eyes open when we made?
No, you never
They were closed. Just remind
When he kissed him, were his eyes open?
Okay. Okay, that's good.
I like the interplay when you tell Clark to pick up the truck, but he's Lionel in Transference in season 4. You guys had a fun scene where Tom was getting to play Lionel on the loose with Martha and Jonathan Kent in Clark's body. That was some really great acting by you, Tom. That was beautiful.
That was when, actually my favorite takeaway, and I keep speaking. I must be excited. We did the scene in that episode where we're in the kid kitchen and then the family room, and Jonathan's talking to me, and he goes, and you kind of do this, and you walk away, and on your back, I reached forward and went like this, and you turned around and looked at me, and I remember on the day that I did that, I did it, and you turned around and you're like, excuse me, son? Like, did you just pat me on the back? And they got it, and it works because I'm playing that cocky kind of like whatever.
Right, yeah.
You were great at that. Oh, thanks. I got to be myself.
That's right. And the cool Clark, you were great with the motorcycle and all that stuff.
So,
Because he's a really nice guy, so I was wondering about whether he's going to be able to pull that off.
Right.
Because eventually on a television show you play the other guy. I was my son Bo Hogg, for crying out loud. You wonder if they're going to be able to do it because you're so used to seeing them in a certain light. But man, it was like great.
well, and it's the funny thing about that is the way I thought about that character is that he wasn't bad. He just didn't care about any consequences, which allowed him to just do whatever the hell he wanted in a sense. But when he takes off to Metropolis in that motorcycle, we watched the podcast and we were laughing because he's like, oh, he's like ready to go, he takes off, and then the helicopter shot is he's literally, because there's the white lines in the middle of the highway, he's going like 25 miles an hour. You know what I mean? It's like music, and he's like barely moving, like the bike's probably gonna fall over soon. I don't know if you guys got that. But what are you gonna do?
That's that cinematographer nonsense where they say you can't tell speed. Really? Oh, really? Is that how it works? Then we were going too fast all those years. Crazy.
When Tom guest starred as your old Jonathan Kent's old pal, that was great.
Wopat.
Oh, Wopat.
Yes.
The other TW. It's great. I got 2 TWs in my life. Yeah, it was terrific, and I didn't know he was going to be there. People think that was my idea. I had no idea that Tom was going to be there, and he shows up. But Al and Miles were both also Dukes fans, so they thought that would be great. I thought it was pretty daring for them to do that because that would take a really solid. It would have been really easy for me to turn into Bo and just ditch Jonathan Kent altogether. Because Tom Wopat and I, when we get together and it's kind of like this relationship, and it was that way from Hello.
I remember, because as like I already said, I was a fan of Dukes, and so when Tom Wopat was there, I was like, oh, this is so cool. And then I saw a side of you that I hadn't seen before. You were like happy and funny. You guys were like joking with each other.
Yeah.
And I remember and I was like, oh, this is so much fun to watch this. I'm so happy for John, and Tom seems cool. And then I had a question for you, and I go, hey John, and you go, 1 second. And you just kept going, and I was like, and then you kind of forgot that I had asked you. No, but it was like, hey John, you're like, 1 second. You guys have a bond that's just, forged in battle.
Oh, yeah.
So
From a 3-network world. Yeah, it was great. So that was a lot of fun. And I think we mentioned Chickasaw County on that show. Right? We mentioned Chickasaw County.
we did. Oh, look, we got 2 encyclopedias over here. This is great.
Well, I want to let the fans now start coming up to the mic. I hope you guys enjoyed that guided moderation for a hot second. Come on up, young lady, young man.
My question's for Tom.
So in your podcast Talkville with Michael Rosenbaum, is there a
It's just Talkville, it's not Talkville with Michael Rosen.
So in this show, is there a certain episode that you've been looking forward to doing that you guys have yet to do, to rewatch and go back over again?
It's funny, thank you for your question. I don't know what's coming up. What I do enjoy is just sort of watching as we continue with the podcast, but I will say that I can't wait for when Michael's character leaves the show. And Michael still has to do the podcast. No! And he's just gonna be like, what the F, even more. But we just watched, we did Recruit, and then there were 2 other ones after that were really great. I really liked them a lot. I gave one a 2 rows even. If you guys know what I'm talking about to do, but yeah, we just have to see how it goes. I know that Onyx, he's really looking forward to that one because he thinks it's good. So we'll see. Yeah. Thank you.
That's a great Pattinson Batman, by the way. Great uniform. Next up.
Hi.
Orman there? Yeah.
My mother actually raised me and my brother on Dukes, so John, you've been a huge part of our childhood. Actually, my question is for you. If you could collaborate with any country artist on any album, who would you collaborate with? Because I love your music.
Is anybody live on the... There's one I would not collaborate with, but she's not really a country artist. Country is hard. Country is hard. I think there's a misconception in the world of music where they think country is easy, but you've got to, first of all, you have to have a great, the song has to be very, very well crafted. So it has to be a great story. Johnny Cash is not the greatest singer in the world, but Johnny Cash was arguably one of the greatest storytellers.
And gave you his coat.
And he gave me his coat, that's right. So if I could pick anybody alive or not, I would collaborate with John. I think Johnny Cash had such a wonderful way to tell a story, to craft a word, to craft a sentence. So that'd be who I would work with. I'd love to.
Me too. He wouldn't collaborate with me. Johnny Cash, I would try.
Country music.
Not you, Johnny Cash.
Oh.
I would collaborate with Johnny Cash.
Thank you.
I remember when you sang the Duke song for me and Michael once. And I remember Michael asking you, and you looking at him being like, you took the guitar, and you go, you know I don't do this. And Michael was like, yeah, we do it. And we were just 2 little boys.
You sang along.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hello, my name is Emma, and I'm a very big fan of Smallville. I've loved it since I was really young. My dad introduced me to it, and I think you are all very amazing actors. My question is mainly for Tom, but I think it could also apply to all of you. So I imagine being on a show for 16 years has a major impact on your life, career, identity. A lot of actors, I think, deal with typecasting throughout their careers, creating this sort of forced identity for them. And for you, Tom, I think you've sort of been eternally known now as Clark Kent. And so, in a sense, he's sort of become your typecast. And I want to know, how does being known as one character have an effect on your acting career? Do you feel it's limited you in other roles you can take on? And what impact has it had on your personal identity, both as an actor and as an individual?
It's like 4 questions. I'm going to try to be positive about it. One, I wouldn't have the life I have without Smallville. I think to speak to the typecasting thing, it's like part of what happens in entertainment is people want a version of the thing that worked. So typecasting can work for you, and sometimes it's about you showing people that you can do different things. I don't know if I've been limited because of Smallville. I'll never know that. I think it's, as you get older, you have to show the people who make the decisions that you're different, you can do different things. And maybe I could be very proactive about that or not. You never know if you're typecast. I don't know anybody who goes, yeah, I'm typecast. I don't know. I I don't know. I mean, I have a beautiful, wonderful family, and a lot of that is because of what I've done in my past. So, if I'm typecasted, I'm okay with it. Yeah.
I would just add to that a lot of it is your dancing partner and what you were able to do with Tom Ellis on Lucifer. That's a great dancing partner, and you got the charm and banter, and it was really a hugely different side. And so,
Thank you.
great casting and great opportunities to work with somebody that's going to give you that energy. You put him with Nick Cage, you're going to see some good shit.
Oh,
So,
man.
universe.
I just watched the Nick Cage movie last night. I'm a sucker for Nick Cage. I watched him read a book.
You see 8mm?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's scary.
John on Have and Have Nots, you were the meanest, despicable version we've ever seen. It was
Yeah,
great.
why do you say that?
I just, it goes even down to the clone you were wearing on that show. You went full character.
Say it again. I think the typecasting thing, it just depends on, you just have to, as they said in Butch Casting the Sundance Kid, you have to outlast the bastards.
Yeah.
You just have to do more, and then you have to, again, you got to be the horse. You got to be the, instead of being the trying to placate the folks that make the decisions, become one of the folks that makes the decisions.
I'll real quick. Thank you for bringing up Lucifer. I appreciate you saying that because it was a lot of fun. I got Lucifer because Joe, one of the creators and showrunners, watched every episode of Smallville, and he saw that I could do something different. So in fact, that was the opposite of typecasting. Like the call I had with him, he was like, "Oh, I'm so glad that you're considering doing this." And like, I'm like, "Yeah, I was on the show with Smallville." He was, "Oh, I know." And so it was the opposite of typecasting because I was on there and showing. Because by the way, on Smallville we did comedy, action, drama. We did it all. We did all of it. And so you want to typecast me, go ahead. But here's some evidence that there might be some room to work here. So anyway, thank you for your question.
And the next,
No. Oh, I was just gonna say, and work, just quickly, like work. You're right, because work begets work, and the more you're out there, sure, they're seeing the thing that worked, like you said, and they want to see more of that. But then it gives you the opportunity to show people on a bigger scale what you can do within the parameters that you're given, and then it opens up other doors. So I think it's all a good thing.
And you have to kick some of the doors down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't ever think you made it because the phones really don't ring. You've got to do the work to get the work.
Well, you guys all know Jensen Ackles, who's also in Smallville. He had this other show that lasted for a couple years. With the guy from Gilmore Girls. When he was on a show called Boys, which is a very different version of Jensen, and I remember talking to him about how he got it. He heard about the role, they didn't want to see him. He leaned on his agents and said, "I want to be in there, get me in there." And they were like, "Okay," he went in and won it in the room. But he had to fight for it. His agents were like, "Well," he's like, "No, get me in that room or we're gonna have a problem." So they let him in the room and he won the role. And so you gotta knocking down doors.
Yeah, you gotta do it.
Well, he started in the soap world too.
Yeah.
Like, and people talk about that as its own world, and it's like the crossover into television, the crossover into film, whatever. I mean, he's kind of done it all.
Yeah.
And so it's like there's no limits other than the limits you put on yourself.
well, just to button that, you look at Justin Hartley, Green Arrow, and you think, oh, maybe he'll have the spin-off series. No, it's Stephen Amell. Then he drops down to a soap because you need work, and it's an opportunity to stretch those muscles. Then This Is Us comes along.
Yep.
So you literally see him go here, a little plateau.
He's got
and then-
Trapper.
So yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Alan too.
Alan, yeah.
Oh yeah. Aquaman, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Reacher.
To reach him. Great. Yeah, that's
He's great. He's great. Great.
so much talent on this show. This show had everybody. Amy Adams as the obese. That was a non-PC story now. But yeah, so many great actors on the show. Next question.
Questions for Tom. It seems like almost every season we had an episode where Clark had to either give up or lost his powers, and it seems like the moral of that episode was always that his responsibility was to keep them and not run away from them. And then they came out with the Crisis on Infinite Earths where he just had given them up again with seemingly no consequences. And my question is, for you, as the person embodying that character, you know, your personal kind of opinion on it, did he actually permanently give those up, or was that a Blue Kryptonite watch?
No idea.
Let me-
I didn't even ask.
Let me give you guys a little tidbit on things. When new people come into town, they take the value of the old stuff and they're like, oh, we want to do something with this. So what Alan Miles viewed for Tom and the work that he put in there, that Smallville story plays out in your head. Don't take a choice made on a cameo by new writers wanting to put their stamp on it. You see it all the time. Luke Skywalker drinking blue goat milk and throwing his lightsaber over his shoulder. That's horseshit. He wouldn't do that. George Lucas said that to me, personally. That's not Luke Skywalker. So, when new people come in and they want to tinker, they don't have that, they didn't earn it.
Yeah.
Stick with the story you watched. That's the way it goes.
Yeah, and what I did in that scene is I actually stole from this guy because I wanted to be a Jonathan Kent version of Clark Kent. And you see with the gloves, and I tried to walk a little bit more like you, and the way I kind of stood a little more sideways, and I love looking at John Crier's character and being like, you're not Lex, because he's not, you know what I mean? But specifically, they didn't tell me what happened to his powers or how you got rid of them. I don't recall having a watch with a colored face on it, but maybe they put that in post and they didn't tell me. Yeah, I didn't even know Erica was going to be there until I saw her on set. So that's how much I knew.
My question is, were there any storylines in Smallville or developments in your character that had an effect on your personality, like your personal life, or any lessons you got taught from your character that influenced you? Just think any life lessons.
Oh.
I've never wanted to jump out of a plane, but I got to do it sort of.
It's a hard thing. A lot of it for me was moving so fast. If anything, I kind of lost track of my real life for years, and tried to spend some time after the show getting my life back in a way, or at least coming back into connection with me. I think I put Tom aside for many years. So the direct overlap, I don't know if I ever had like that moment. I think I was so immersed in trying to learn from all these talented people and survive. I was in survival mode most of the time. And I think day one I knew, I don't know anything and I better just learn from everybody. And that continued when I got into directing or producing or all these other things. It was all me just trying to take more in and more in. So I don't know if that's an answer to your question, but I don't remember filming an episode and being like, hey, I should do that in my life.
I think a lot of it is from what the actors would add in, so it's personal life to the character, which Tom just talked about. And John, you were like, there's
Kind of the other way around, yeah. It's kind of your life informs what you do. Ooh, what an actor.
Well, you said they wrote.
Your life kind of informs what you do on the set. When I was doing Smallville, I had teenagers at home. When Miles and Al were writing Smallville, they had kindergartners and preschoolers at home. So they had an entirely different opinion about how you raised and cared about children than I did. I would say I got cows to feed. You know, they would write a scene where Jonathan was waiting at home with bated breath to find out how Clark's day was at school. No, I don't care. I have things to do, so that's why I would always have my gloves. You mentioned my gloves. They would have me waiting, in the kitchen when Clark comes in, and I'd say, I don't do that. Let Clark be there and I'll come in. And it doesn't sound like a big difference, but I'll come in and I'll be taking my gloves off, go to the refrigerator, wash my hands, do something so that this relationship, it interrupted what Jonathan's day-to-day thing was, but it also made it important enough for me to stop what I was doing. So
we just did on the podcast, we did an episode where Clark and Lana go to China and all this other stuff, and I guess Clark leaves a note for Jonathan and Martha. And the first time you see Clark come in is probably one of the only times I've seen Jonathan and Martha literally sitting there, like standing in the kitchen.
Oh, you were in trouble.
And you go, well, I hope you brought us a souvenir. But it worked because I went to China,
Right, she's wearing your shirt.
Well, then there's
But that scene, that was another, yeah, she comes down the stairs. Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, that was the other, the other time you disappointed me.
Clark at the barn party, and Jonathan finds the underwear, and what does Martha say? Man, we just saw
Well, she said, well, they wanted me to say that. That was one of the arguments I got in. You know, they're in Burbank, and we're in Vancouver. And I'm supposed to say, you know, at least tell me you were safe. I said, you out of your mind? So we had to, and I hate it when actors feel like they know better than the directors, but you know, the directors come in and they want to be on the tree too. You know, they want to put their mark on something that already exists. They want to put their mark on a brand that already exists. So they had this whole scene where I'm very lenient with him, and Lois walks down the stairs with his plaid shirt on. No. So I wound up kind of, I said, look, this isn't going to work this way. And in fact, and that was so great. I said, you're going to have to stop me from killing him. So you're going to have to, which also that informs, there's that actor word, that where Martha gets in between he and I, and she's the only one that she couldn't physically stop me, but her presence would be the only thing that would keep me from saying what was really on my mind. And it was wonderful. It's a wonderful scene, but it was a lame-ass scene. It wasn't, they're great. I think Miles and Al, I think that those two guys are responsible for this whole thing that has happened with superheroes, with Marvel and DC and all that. I think Smallville laid the foundation and made it okay for people to think outside of the box with regard to writing superheroes. So I give them all the credit. But they have little kids. And anybody who's had a little kid who turned into a teenager, you know there's a difference. So anyway, enough said.
Guys, I would like to say a few things right now. First of all, if you have any desire to research any of the charities that were mentioned today, please do so. We appreciate that.
Horses and Heroes. I have business cards at my table with little QR codes on the back if you guys want to come pick one up.
Additionally, we would love for you guys to subscribe to Talkville, keep that good energy going. We really